Hey YouTube, Rob again, here again, bringing you a brand new video. Today I'm actually doing a content entry into Sammy's channel, Falagar517. I was going to try and do I've still got to do my part 3 I'm doing my entire Blu-ray collection at the moment, and I've still got to sort of shoot part 3 and upload it. So I was going to try and do that first before I sort of did this video, just so my videos are sort of, in line sort of thing, part 1, part 2, part 3. But I haven't sort of got around to sort of shooting part 3 yet, and this contest sort of needs to be, I think it's going to end very soon. So I thought, bugger it, I think I'll just get this video done and, upload it. And you can probably tell with the lighting too, I'm sort of doing this sort of very late at night as well. I've sort of been, I've been wanting to sort of do this video ever since he sort of, announced his contest. But I just haven't had time to sort of do it, and other things. So I'm doing it now, real late at night. I thought, I better get this done. So I'm sort of shooting it late at night. Yeah, so we'll get into it. First question out of 15 questions, which is very interesting questions here too, I might add. Okay, so the first question is, why did I sort of first sub to his channel, and why do I sort of keep watching, sort of thing. He's a very sort of big supporter of my channel, and I do like his channel as well. I really like him because he's a bit like me. He sort of tends to sort of ramble on a bit, and I try to sort of, I sort of know that I sort of ramble on too much, so I do try to sort of cut back on, try and limit how long my video is, and sometimes I sort of try to rush through things sometimes, and or something. I think he doesn't sort of bother him that much. He does sort of ramble on. He does sort of seem to sort of, take his time, with what he's doing, and if he wants to sort of talk about something, he does sort of talk about it and take his time with it, and which I think is a good thing. It does. I think something that it has sort of perhaps inspired me, perhaps to. I think I might try and make some more, or at least not worry about as much about making sort of longer videos, because it's some people do say that. Have sort of left me comments and say, well, they don't necessarily mind me sort of making longer videos, which is fine, I suppose. I just don't want to sort of ramble too much and make my videos too long, because I don't want people necessarily to get bored with what I'm saying, or also editing the videos. If you've got like a half an hour video or plus, it does take a fairly long time to edit. So that's why I try to make my videos a bit shorter. So I just sort of keep coming back to his channel, because I just think, I just really like his videos, and he's a really sort of, really sort of genuine sort of bloke too. He sort of, he always, leaves really sort of long comments on my videos, and which I think is really good, because I really do sort of really enjoy sort of reading those, and I just sort of, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to sort of explain why you sort of like someone's channel, I suppose, in some ways. I just sort of like, like his sort of content, and I just think he's a really sort of interesting person to listen to, and he just sort of takes his time with things, and really just sort of goes in depth with things, which I think is just really great. The other thing, I sort of missed the first part though, where it says, why did I first subscribe? Can't necessarily remember how I've sort of, whether he subscribed me first, or or I subscribed him. I think maybe I had sort of watched a few of his videos, but I hadn't actually sort of subscribed at that point. I don't think. But I think he did actually subscribe to me first. But I think I had been aware of him before he subscribed to me though. So that's the first question. You're just a really good YouTuber, and that's pretty much why I keep sort of coming back to him. Okay, the next few questions are sort of we've got sort of 3 sort of choices for each question. They're very, as I said before, very sort of interesting questions. Okay, the second question. Okay, so we've got sort of 3 sort of options basically. First option is, would I choose to sort of randomly lose half my collection, and get the chance to sort of speak? Was it French, Spanish, Italian, or German? Or second part was, or I could choose to sort of choose which half of my collection to lose, but only learn one language out of those. Or the third one was give my ultimate collection for free, or get my hands and feet cut off. That sort of sounds a bit vicious. So I think I'll go with B. I reckon. I think probably choose which half of my collection I can lose, and choose one language. I'll probably choose French. I reckon. That'd be fine with me. I don't need to learn 4 languages, do I? I think I'll start with France. That sounds like a good, or French. That sounds like a good language to learn. Okay, third question. Which I don't think I necessarily wrote this one down all the way through, so I think I sort of missed a few bits with this one. But anyway, okay, so I can either be immortal and return back to the dinosaurs, or B, become mortal but get transported to an unknown future. And the third question, I can't read what I've written there. Well, the third choice I can't sort of do. So, but I think we'll go with B, because I reckon that sounds like an interesting one. Be mortal but transported to an unknown future. I reckon that sounds quite exciting, I think. Because you wouldn't know what the future was, what it would be like, and it'd be, I reckon it'd be quite an adventure, I reckon. I was sort of thinking about that question, and this is pretty much off topic, but I'm going to sort of mention it anyway. I mean, they'll be sort of likened perhaps to the very first person that was went into space. I mean, I did sort of Google that, and is it Yuri Gagarin? I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right or not. But apparently he was the very first person in space. I was sort of thinking about that sort of the other day, and I mean, it would be quite scary, I think, to be the very first person going up to space, and because you'd sort of be worried about sort of whether the spaceship might explode, or the oxygen, you might die of might suffocate from lack of oxygen, or many one things could go wrong, and it'd be quite a very scary thing, I think, to go up there for the very first time, and but in some ways it also would be a very sort of proud thing to do as well, I reckon. I mean, he'd be scared shitless about it, doing that sort of thing. But I mean, it'd be quite an honour to do it. And I mean, if he went up there and, it was a complete disaster, and he suffocated to death, and it was a really horrible death, I don't think that would really bother him too much, because I think there'd be someone down on Earth, another man, or indeed a woman, that, would come, would sort of step up and, do the exact same thing again. So, and they wouldn't be scared, perhaps, about doing it. So, why would I be scared about doing it, or why would he be scared about doing it? But that's just totally random thought I had. But anyway, we'll keep going. It would be, I think, just be a great honour to be the first person in space, even if it was high chance of you dying. I think it'd still be, you'd still do it. There wouldn't be any sort of question about it, I don't think. Okay, question 4. Would I choose to be burnt alive, suffering for a week, and then, like you're burnt, I think it's, so you're sort of burning for a whole week, and then you die, or B, death by drowning in hot water, or be tossed down a deep bottomless pit with climbing gear, and you can climb out, and you've got, obviously you probably have injuries, I suppose, too, wouldn't you? So I think I'd probably go with C, because I reckon that there'd be a chance that you'd probably survive. You know what I mean? You might get hurt on the way down, but you might be able to find your way back up again. So we'll go with C for question 4. Question 5. First option was for 7 years. So you sort of get like 1 year to be a girl, and the next year to be a boy. I think you sort of switch from year to year. I reckon that'd be probably a good option. The second option was for 15 years. So, over a course of 15 years, you'd be filthy rich for 3 years, and then poor for the next 2 years, and then you sort of keep recycling type thing. Or number C was a total of 10 years be blind. For every year that there's a big blockbuster. So I think I might go for I think it's probably the first one, where you get to be a boy and a girl, for each year. I reckon that'd be quite interesting, I reckon. Living a year as a girl, I reckon that'd be quite an experience. So we'll go with that one. Okay, question 6. What TV shows would you like to see started up again? I could probably say Firefly, because I think that's probably the the cliche answer maybe. Even though I've never sort of watched Firefly. Anyway, there's a couple of shows that I wouldn't perhaps mind seeing. I mean, there'd probably be like Freaks and Geeks. That was a great TV show that I think only lasted a season and before I got axed. You probably couldn't bring it back though, because I think the actors are a lot older than they were. You got like Seth Rogen and who's that other guy? Him. I can't remember his name anyway. I'll put it up there. Big famous guy anyway. A few other famous actors as well. I think they've sort of moved on, so you probably couldn't bring that show back. There's probably one show that I was absolutely disappointed that they axed. That was the Sarah Connor Chronicles. If anyone sort of remembers that show. I was really into that show. I think I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and I was really engrossed in the storyline, and then they just axed it. There was no series 3, and I was like, what? So I have sort of thought about perhaps revisiting that show again, because you can sort of buy it on Blu-ray obviously, or DVD. I have sort of thought about perhaps buying it and rewatching it, but I can't see the point of watching it again, because I know there's going to be no continuation in the story. You sort of get really hopped up into this storyline, and then it just ends, and there's no, it's like pretty sure it's like a cliffhanger, wasn't there, at the end of series 2 too? Like, so I'd love to sort of see the finale of that, but I was really annoyed with that, to be honest. I was really pissed off. Okay, so question 7. This is one where you got all the directors, and you've got to sort of choose the best 2 films by those 2 directors. Okay, so we've got George A. Romero. That's a difficult one probably, because I'll probably go, probably Dawn of the Dead maybe I think is probably a good one. But I think maybe probably Night of the Living Dead. I mean, I know some people don't like that particular movie. But I do sort of remember watching that movie when I was quite young. I think that was probably one of the first pretty sure it was one of the sort of first ever sort of horror movies, or first sort of scary movies that I can remember sort of watching. So I guess in some ways it just sort of a bit of nostalgia there, I suppose. I don't think it's actually not a bad movie, really. So we'll go with that one, Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead. Wes Craven, that's probably another one I don't necessarily know. I haven't sort of seen too many of his films. Obviously, probably Scream's probably they're not too bad movies. I have sort of seen, The People Under the Stairs. I do remember, I watched that one a long time ago and thought that wasn't too bad. And you've also got, obviously the Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, as well. Hitchcock. There's a lot of films I wouldn't want to actually rewatching here. I haven't sort of watched a few. I have to have watched them, but it has been a while since I've seen them. I think The Birds would be one that I really would mind rewatching again, because I remember that being a really good movie. I definitely probably Dialed In for Murder. I do remember that one being, I think that's a movie that I really did like. I haven't sort of seen it. I have watched it a few times, but that was a long time ago. But that was really, I just loved the story on that one. That was really engrossing. Very sort of simple. It was very sort of shot basically in sort of the one room, wasn't it? And it was, at least I remember it being shot. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. But that was a great movie. I love the storyline to that, and just very sort of simple and very clever. I thought that one. I feel the ones I haven't sort of seen much from Dario Argento, how we say his name. He's the one that did that sort of the film with the those girls at that sort of dancing academy or something. I have sort of seen that one. I could be totally wrong on that, but anyway. Sort of Hammer films, and there's a couple of good ones. There's one called The Vampire Lovers, which I think is a good one. It's got lesbian vampires in it. You can't sort of beat that. There's one called The Reptile, which I do remember being quite good. And there's a movie called The Horrors from the Black Museum. I'm not sure if that's a Hammer film though, but that was another sort of very interesting film. That was a good one, that one. John Carpenter. He's a director that I haven't sort of seen. I've sort of, all the movies that I've sort of seen of his have been really good. I've really enjoyed sort of all the movies that I've seen of his. So I definitely perhaps need to sort of, because there's a lot of films of his I haven't sort of seen yet. So I definitely need to sort of watch some of his. But probably Halloween, obviously. Halloween's just a fantastic movie. I just love the way that movie's shot, and yeah, I think that's a really great movie. I really get blown away by the visuals of that. Every time I watch it, I think, wow, that just looks great. The Fog, that's another good movie that I've I've only seen that once, but that was really good. But yeah, definitely need to sort of see more of his films, I think. Okay, so that's question 7. Question 8. Okay, we've sort of got to your favourite horror movie, the top 2 movies from these sort of genres. So I've got top 2 horror movies. Well, probably Halloween. And probably, I don't know, Alien, I suppose, if you class that as being a horror movie, that's a really good, that's another great film, definitely great film that's been shot well as well. I do like the way that's shot as well. Great sort of camera angles in that. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more horror ones, so I can't think of any off sort of offhand. Science fiction, probably Alien, that's sort of, I think it's one of the great sort of science fiction films, that one. I just sort of love this whole idea of it. It's very sort of human science fiction too, because it's all about sort of this big sort of clunky ship that doesn't work very well, and just sort of normal sort of people in this sort of in this sort of science fiction environment, type thing. So that's, yeah, great movie, that one. And probably, I don't know, Blade Runner is probably, that's definitely a really good science fiction movie. Well, I mean, so even some of sort of the Star Trek movies, I haven't sort of seen many of them, but they're really good, especially the last one. I really enjoyed the, Into Darkness. I thought it was a fantastic film, that one. Even though some people say it's not necessarily your traditional sort of, Star Trek movie. But anyway, okay, it's a fantasy. That's another one I probably had a bit of trouble sort of trying to think of. I mean, you've got probably the Conan movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought that was sort of great sort of fantasy, type movies. And a few obscure ones too, I've got them down. You like there's 2 films starring Tanya Roberts. I think she was probably most famous she was in that James Bond movie, A View to Kill. I think that's probably the most famous movie she's probably been in. But she's been in, small parts in the Beastmaster, which is another sort of Conan type movie. And there's another movie, this is another obscure movie by her. It's called Sheena Queen. It's called Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, which is a really great movie, really sort of cheesy sort of movie. But it's definitely a film that sort of has like real sort of animals in it. You don't sort of see films these days that sort of have live action sort of animals in them. Now it's all sort of CGI, and which is, I suppose there would have been, there's a lot more work in that, I suppose, having to sort of train all these animals to do certain things. And today it's just more, it's all CGI. But it's definitely a good one. Sort of Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. That's a really good movie, I think. Just cheesy, but it's really, real sort of fun watch, that one. Okay, animated movies. This is going to be hard because I'm a big sort of animation fan, so it's difficult to just choose 2. But I do have a list here, so I'm going to cheat a bit and say more than 2. A few obscure ones, I think. I do prefer perhaps sort of 80s sort of animation. I do like the sort of the ones that are a bit more different, a bit more sort of adult compared to perhaps more of the sort of Disney ones. I think Heavy Metal is probably my favourite animated movie of all time. I think that movie is just absolutely fantastic. That's another great sort of fantasy movie too, actually, that one. Another one by Ralph Bakshi, which probably a lot of people haven't sort of heard of. He did one called American Pop, which I think is just a fantastic movie. Really great sort of rotoscoping in that one. That's just a great movie. I think it's really well done, that one. A bit sort of rough, but it's really great movie, that one. I think probably the best movie I've ever seen probably would have to be one of the Studio Ghibli films. That's Nausicaa Valley of the Winds. I think that's just an absolute, I might use the word masterpiece, because I think it's just a fantastic movie, that one. Great animation in that, and great story, and another great sort of fantasy movie, that one, actually, as well. I got more sort of, newer ones, I suppose, Wreck-It Ralph and Wall-E. I think they're both really great movies of recent years. Film noir. I haven't sort of seen a lot of the sort of film noir movies, but I think probably there's one called Killers, which I thought was really good. Killers. You got Double Indemnity. That's a really sort of popular one, which is actually pretty good. There was another one in here too, though, which I didn't write down. There's one called was it Out of the Past, with Robert Mitchum and what's her name? Jane Greer. With both great actors them too. That's a really good, very sort of very similar plotline to a History of Violence. Very sort of similar sort of idea in that. Yeah, I do like both Robert Mitchum and Jane Greer. This is probably a bit off topic as well, but I mean, there's another YouTuber on here, Chloe, DVD Collector 100. I think she looks a lot like Jane Greer. I could be the only one that thinks that, but I think she definitely has a bit of a resemblance there. If you look up, Jane Greer and look up DVD Collector 100 and compare pictures, I'm sure you might agree. I don't know, maybe not. Anyway, we'll keep moving. Then you've got post-apocalyptic movies. Probably The Book of Eli. I guess that's a really good one. I'm sure there's more, but I can't sort of think of any. There's another one called When the Wind Blows, which is sort of like an animated one, sort of about these. It sounds a bit odd, but it's about sort of these two old couple, husband and wife, and sort of the world's about to end. Sort of the government sort of sends out these letters on how to protect yourself against the nuclear fallout. It's very, I don't know, an odd sort of complex, bit of an odd sort of premise, I guess. But it's probably another film I might talk about another day. That one actually. That's an animated film, so I might talk about that one in my actual my part 3, my animated overview of my entire animation collection. Question 9. Who would win out of a battle between Batman and Captain America? I think a lot of people perhaps have sort of said, Captain America, I think, because he's probably got the super strength, and Batman has his sort of his gadgets and stuff like that, but I think Captain America is going to sort of win out with, just sort of pure force, I think. Question 10. Which sort of studio, like movie studios, do I sort of prefer? You got Shout Factory, Criterion, Arrow, and Scream Factory, I don't necessarily, doesn't sort of bother me necessarily which ones. I just sort of like the movies. I don't necessarily sort of worry about too much about the, who sort of releases them, type thing. But I think Arrow definitely makes some great releases. I think, especially the sort of the white sort of slip covers with the sort of especially with the horror movies. I think they've got a really nice sort of white sort of slip covers, which I think, in some ways, I think that might sound a bit boring, but they're actually sort of quite nice. I think them sort of ones. I don't think they sort of make them anymore though. I think someone was talking about them, saying they don't sort of make those covers anymore, which is a bit disappointing. Okay, so for question 11. When I sort of watch sort of foreign films, do I sort of watch them in subs or dubs, or which do I sort of prefer? I think I do try to sort of watch movies sort of in their original language and just with the subtitles on. But I do sort of find sometimes it does sort of pay to sort of watch the dub version, because sometimes you can sort of get lost in the story if you're sort of watching it with the in the original language with subtitles. I think sometimes it's good to sort of listen to it just in English sort of thing, and then you sort of understand perhaps a bit more of the storyline sometimes. I find, but I do sort of try to watch it in the original language. Question 12: do I buy movies? Do I buy movies because they're cheap, or because I sort of like the movie? I don't know, a bit of both, I think, really. I do sort of try and, if I do sort of find a bargain on a movie, I do try and pick it up, because I'm a bit of a bargain hunter sometimes. But I don't sort of buy necessarily. I do have to have some sort of interest in the movie, I suppose, for me to buy it though. But I do sort of, sometimes perhaps I do sort of buy a lot of sort of blind buys, I suppose, though. But I do try to at least have some sort of interest in the movie, I just sort of try to find out a bit more about it, and watch the trailer for it, or at least read the premise to it, before I buy it, type thing. But definitely I'm a bit of a bargain hunter and try to find a good deal if I can, sort of thing. What's next? Question 13: would I become blind, deaf, and dumb, or 1,000 people will die? Which would I choose? Well, I don't know. I don't think I'd really like to be blind, deaf, and dumb. But I guess if I had to sort of save 1,000 people, it might be, I might have to do that maybe. But I think if I was, if I was really that, really was in that situation, blind, deaf or dumb, I think I'd rather be dead, to be honest. Anyway, question 14. Which film do you want to see released on, Shat, Screen, Criterion, Arrow, whatever. I guess it's probably asking you which company, I suppose, would you want to release your movie, I guess. I don't think it really matters, really. I don't know, I think, the Criterion ones are supposed to be, they're sort of be the, supposed to be class, aren't they? So that's sort of more classy sort of label. So, I don't know. I guess maybe in some ways perhaps they could charge more for that, I don't know, if it was a Criterion. But anyway, so we'll go Criterion. Okay, question 15. Would I rather run around nude in the mall till I got arrested, or would I rather run around beating up people until I got arrested? Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm necessarily a violent person. But then, I don't really want to run around nude though. I don't think that'd be very fun. I think it'd probably be more fun to perhaps go around and beat people up. So I might choose that option. I'm pretty sure that's it. That's all 15 questions. So that's, my answers to those weird questions, Sammy. I don't know how you sort of come up with all them, but anyway. So I'll leave a link to Sammy's channel down below. Definitely a great YouTuber. Definitely worth checking out. And as I said before, I really need to sort of get this video done, and because he's a big supporter of my channel, and I just think it's really important that I do sort of make this video and give him some support. Not necessarily to win anything, just to sort of say that he's a great YouTuber. And so thanks for watching. Hopefully that my questions weren't too bad, and hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. But definitely subscribe to Sammy. And for now, thanks for watching, and goodbye.